Right, so today we're going to measure the beams for the ceiling so we can put the roof up and the insulation. But first of all we need to measure them, cut them and screw them up. So let's get measuring. Right, so before you actually screw them up or put your countersink holes in, so if you notice in the metal, there's all little holes. You don't want to be screwing a countersink hole where it's going to go through one of these big holes. Right, we marked the locations where we can actually screw on the wood. And then that'll go through to the metal and catch in the metal. Right, because we're going into the ceiling, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a countersink bit and we're going to pre-drill the holes in the actual wood so it's easier for the self-tapping threaded screw to go through and it'll sink nice into the wood and it'll be flush. Just saves driving it right into the metal and forcing it in there, into the wood as well. So we're going to countersink all of these and then get them on the roof. Right, at the same time when we get in the van, what we're going to do is we're just going to start putting the screws in, threading them a little bit, so when we put it up to the ceiling we just need to screw and that's it, it's done. We ain't going to mess around with screws falling out and nothing like that. Right, so now we've got the battens all lined out, it's time to screw them up to the ceiling. But one tip, these channels here, just make sure there's no screws or not screws, no cables on the inside, because there might be. There's probably not, there's probably no chance, but if you go screwing through a cable and I haven't told you, I look like a, don't I? So, you know, yeah. Drill, let's go. That basically means my shoulders are on fire. Oh! Get out. But the beams are up! Woohoo! So while Emma's carrying on with filling the little holes in, I'm going to go outside, cut the beams of wood for the floor, then we're going to silicone them down with just a little spot, screw them down to the floor, checking underneath first that we're not getting near any cables, any wiring, any brake lines, your fuel tank, I don't know what a tank is, but there you go, it's like a fuel tank from Chernobyl. Don't let your fuel tank blow up. You don't want to be screwing through your fuel tank, because, you know what I mean? There'll be a documentary on that. Screw it down to the floor, do the whole floor. So in between the timbers, we're going to have battens going across, but we're not going to screw them down, we're just going to make them nice and tight, bit of mastic on them, and they'll hold in. Just for a bit of stability in the middles, because this is the main living area of the actual van. You don't need to go drilling all sorts of holes in your floor just to fit these beams in. Silicone underneath it, or sticker flex, or no nails, or something like that will do the job just fine. Right, so that's the widthway sections all screwed down. Now we've just got to fill in the blanks with a bit of support in between the back end and the front, and then the floor base is down. All we've got to do then is basically get the insulation, put the insulation on top, cut it into the squares, then the ply goes on top of that. But before we do that, we tape it all up, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's get these all finished off, looking good, and then we can get the insulation in. Right, so that day has come where we get to fill the foam insulation into the floor. This is 25mm, which will come straight up to the battens. And it's just a case of cutting them, putting them into the squares, and then going over the edges with aluminium tape and making it all sealed and all safe and all vapor barriered up. So all we got to do is cut the squares, put them in.
Make sure the floor's secure. We're going to tape along all the wooden battens and get all along these lines just to make sure that everything's in, firm, secure and safe. You're a magpie? This is your boy.
Right, so that's the floor all insulated. All you gotta do now is go over the wheel arches with some reflective tape around the edges of the wheel arches to make sure the vapor barrier is complete. Then it's cut the plywood and put the floor in. Right, so we've got the beams down, the insulation's down, the reflective is all on the top, it's all sealed, it's all fine. Next thing, we just got to cut the wood and put the floor down. So let's get cutting, let's get screwing. Right, so that's 2 sheets down. 2 more to go. But right now, if there's anything I could have right now, it would be a beer. It's a nice day. Done some lovely woodwork and just look at that.
As you can see, step just goes over on this little bit here, and the reason Neil's done that is because we're having a kitchen. So the kitchen's actually going to come out halfway across this door, just give us a little bit more space. The units will be here, so that's to measure that bit there. And he's just screwing the ply into the wood. Now, into the floor. It's been a long day.